You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. Yes, we are back. Episode 76 coming at you tonight. We've got a lot planned, and without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., 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 and all the way from Aiken, Minnesota, and the Woods and Shores Studios, Paul Volt, the Shield. What is going on, Shield?
Just like the namesake of the guy I'm wearing the jersey, Case Keenum here, we look to get this show on a hot start like Keenum did against the Jacksonville Jaguars over the weekend. So I'm looking forward to a real good one tonight.
It's going to be a great one. Obviously, we have our announcement. We have that, and then not only that, we got Tater Tot Hot Take. We're talking about some signings from, Minnesota Wild, and a potential signing soon to come, hopefully. And then, obviously, the big trade happening with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Then we got Callahan's School of Logic. I got to talk about that preseason game. Not only that, but I need to give my input on some people that are already freaking out. Then ARA, of course, and then Shield Shoutouts. So we have a jam-packed show. So for the people that are tuning in right now, they're probably wondering, okay, what's this big announcement about? What's going on here? What is, what is he going to say? What are they going to say? And frankly, we, as in me and Shield and obviously the Kerf Doctor, have had some bright ideas. And we've mentioned a couple times, and I believe Voldy, your brother, as well as has mentioned something along this lines too, of doing something with like a fantasy football thing and things like that. But I think I have a good alternative, and I think this is going to be easier for a lot of the zoners. I think it's time to do a MinneZona Pick'em. Yes, sir. MinneZona Pick'em. Exactly.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, homie. Everything. DJ Airhorn. We are doing it. We are doing the MinneZona Pick'em. It is going to be fantastic. And here's how it's going to work, okay? The reason why we're doing this is because, we've got a lot of cool stuff like these stickers, by the way. These awesome stickers. We've got these awesome shirts. And what better way to do an NFL Pick'em than maybe winning some of these for free? And you have to win.
Free.
You have to win. You have to win. That's the thing, zoners. So, Voldy, this is how it's going to work. And zoners,
Okay.
this is how it's going to work, okay? We are on the CBS Sports app, okay? The CBS Sports Pick'em. We have our own pool, okay? We have our own pool. Voldy and I are already in it. Now, it's going to be more zoner-based. We can participate, but the thing is, it's about you guys. You guys, we want to see who's getting first place in the league, okay? We want to see who's getting first place in the Pick'em. We want to see who's getting all the wins, and obviously, we want to congratulate all the top scorers as well. Top scorers, the top, the first place, second place, third place. There's a lot to be talked about. Now, CBS Sports app. So, Matty C, how do we get that? Well, we can either invite you. You can talk to myself. You can talk to Voldy, which you can forward to whoever else. You can talk to Kerf Doctor. He'll probably forward you to me because we got to get it rolling, and we'll invite you. You guys will come in. You guys make your picks, and we'll get it rolling. It is going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, pass the word along. And again, there's no buy-in. You come right in, you make your picks, you fight to win some MinneZona merch and some other stuff too. Who knows? Who knows? We might throw in some other fun stuff as well. So the MinneZona Pick'em League, we are starting it off. It is going to be fun. And Goldie, you know, I got a good feeling about this. And I think people are going to love this. And I think this is a great idea. A lot of the zoners will be pretty happy to do this as well. So we will give you the link after the show. And you talk to me. You can talk to me right now. You can text me. Say, Matty C, I want in. Voldy, I want in. That's what people are going to say. So we're going to have a good time with it. And we hope that you do too. And, you know, obviously, you don't have to buy it. All you have to do is say, I want to join. That's it. You don't have to pay us anything. You just want to come in and say, I want to win some MinneZona merch. I want to get some other stuff too. We will happily indulge for you guys. It is going to be awesome. So make sure to keep in tune with us. We'll drop the link for you guys, and we want you guys to join. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so without further ado, Voldy, I assume we got to get actually back to the show and get some tater tot hot take going. So why don't we just do that with some tater tot hot take?
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, Voldy, it is time for some Tater Tot Hot Take. With that big news, it's tough to follow up, but we've got a lot of good news right now in the Minnesota Wild. Kevin Fiala signs a one-year deal with the Minnesota Wild. Let's go. He is back with the Minnesota Wild. $5 million, $5.1 million deal. So that's looking good for Fiala. Now, the big question is obviously the whole Kaprizov thing. We'll get to that in a second. But Voldy, there's a lot of things that I've been reading up on, and Fiala's been a catalyst for this Minnesota Wild team, and I was kind of caught off guard by the one-year deal. I was like, well, weren't they going to try to sign him long-term? But I did some reading. I looked into the whole Michael Russo thing and whatnot. But it's something that is setting up for a long-term deal, I believe. So, Voldy, let's get your thoughts on the Wild getting that one-year deal done with Fiala. I think it's absolutely crucial, and I think you would agree too. But overall, what do you think?
You know, I look at this one-year deal, and to put these two on the same line together, for every Michael Jordan, there is Scottie Pippen. You can't have one without the other. And since the Wild made the move to get Kevin Fiala from Nashville in the trade that did send Mikael Granlund down to Smashville, and the Wild have gotten the better end of the deal, for sure. Now, the one-year deal for Fiala, I think that's kind of a big setup because of the fact that, you know, it's 1 year, a little over $5 million, but it's really going to keep that cap space nice and wide open for Billy Guerin and the whole Wild ownership to, shell out the big bucks for Kirill because, you want to be able to put something in there maybe as the season moves along, maybe get that a contract extension for Fiala, but you can't have one without the other, and this is the insurance plan right now to come to Kirill and his agent saying, look, we've signed the guys that, that were there for you this past season. Joel Eriksson, we've kept some of the big guys and on the defensive line, Spurgeon and Dumbo. We kept them out of Seattle's hands, and now we got your good buddy Kevin back in the fold as well for another year. So, what kind of deal are we trying to work out here, and how much money you want? We'll, slide you this blank check here, and you fill it out from that part as well. It's already signed and it'll be deposited within the hour. All you got to do is just fill out the number. But I do like it how it's a little bit more of a side towards arbitration as well, making it, as opposed to player deciding for arbitration. The club decided to go that route as well. So that definitely puts it a little bit more into the Wild's hands to maybe for the future work out a more team-friendly deal for Kevin Fiala if that's the route that they go at the end of this season, or if they give him a new contract altogether here as well. So I think it's a smart investment on the 1-year deal right now to set up for the big deal here that's hopefully coming up here within the coming days, if not the coming hours.
Exactly. And I think this was something where his team and the Minnesota Wild were able to come to an agreement saying, listen, we want you to be here, but let's take it one step at a time. Let's get a deal done so we can eventually get you to a long-term deal. It seems like the two sides are definitely agreeing to what's going on here. And obviously, like you mentioned, the arbitration. We got to see how that pans out. But this is a guy, if the Wild lost Fiala, then that tells me, so is Kirill not coming back? With the signing of Fiala, there's a better chance of that happening with Kaprizov coming back. But I'm feeling very confident that he will. It doesn't seem that the Wild are scared from the fact of him maybe going to the KHL. I hopefully don't see that happening, because
hopefully not.
I that would be crushing to Minnesota Wild fans. This guy is amazing. I mean, Kirill is an absolute beast. But getting back to Fiala, I mean, he is like we've said, Voldy, he's been the catalyst, and the main thing is that he's been scoring goals at will. He's led the Wild the past 2 regular seasons, 43 goals and 94 points, 114 games. The guy is great, and we got to hold on to him. He's a young guy, and it was probably the only thing that the good that came out of the guy. Or what was the guy's name who was the GM again? I forget. From Nashville before Guerin. Gosh darn it, what was his name?
Not
who was it?
I don't know, the 1-year guy.
The 1-year guy, we'll call him. Yeah, the 1-year guy. Someone
it's
can
probably
help us
somewhere
out.
on the top 10 and famous list.
Yeah, we might as well.
Zoners, let us know.
But he was that was the only acquisition that went right. So that was the main thing. So, hey, you remember this guy? Do you remember this guy?
Jeremiah, what's up, dude?
What's up, my guy?
Long time no see. Hockey, it's a sport.
Yeah. All love to Jeremiah, man. Do you think Zach Parise lived up to the hype after all those seasons? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think Voldy, you would agree with this too, and the Zoners. I mean, the guy worked his ass off, absolutely. And the thing is that he led this team for most of these seasons. Obviously, this past season was kind of rough for him, and I think we all agree on that. But again, it's this is Guerin's vision, and we can't get in the way of that. Evison obviously has a way of doing things as well. So, Voldy, I'd assume you'd agree with that statement, right?
Yeah, the early goings of his career with the Wild, they were strong. They were really good. At that time, I mean, the Wild were, a skid mark, if you were, of the league, especially the Western Conference. Didn't really see all that much success, in the postseason. And that point had been well over close to 6-7 years, and they come in right away and they start making an impact, make it all the way to the Western Conference semifinals. Of course, the Wild has been as far as the conference finals, but beyond that, I mean, they had some really good years, some really good moments, just unable to get over that hump past Chicago, past Colorado, Vegas as well in the last couple of seasons. But you know what? I think he certainly lived up to the hype. It's just too bad that he couldn't bring a Stanley Cup to Minnesota.
Yeah, and obviously he's a guy that, came into Minnesota. Obviously, being well versed in the community, and he's a great person in general. So I'm happy that hopefully he finds a team here. I think the Islanders is the most would make the most sense. So we'll see what happens. But
the Islanders are no slouches themselves.
No,
and
they're not.
They're going after Parise like this, or as reports have said. I mean, the Islanders were one game away from. I mean, they were a couple games away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals this year and taking down Tampa Bay. I mean, they came to play this year, and if it does end up being that way, or if Parisi finds a way onto a team that's pretty decent, I mean, he could certainly make another run for himself.
Right. So hopefully, I really hope that they pull the trigger on that. So let's wrap this Tater Tot hot take up with Kaprizov here. So here's a small update. This is tweeted Michael Russo, great writer, by the way. He says the Wild are working to get an unsigned, actually now he is signed, I believe, Mason Shaw. And of course, Kaprizov. The Wild 7 to 8 year overtures don't seem doable, so the hope is to get him signed somewhere between 4 to 6 years. The Wild don't seem worried about by the KHL threat. So that's somewhat positive in some aspect. But Voldy, do you think it's going to be within that range? They're not going to go above 6 with the how many years and everything, because I think they want to find a happy medium where they give them all that money by, let's just say they go with 5 years and whatever money. Do you think that's the route to go, or do you think, well, no, let's give them the 7 to 8 and go from there? What do you think?
I think the 5 years is definitely the safest route that you want to go, and especially getting a contract for Kaprizov, because we know that the KHL are kind of half-empty threats as well. I don't want to say that going back to the KHL is a step back for Kaprizov, but you come into the league, you tear it up, you win the Rookie of the Year as well, especially given the fact that it had taken you 5 years to get to this point. I think, he's 25, I think?
Yeah.
24, 25 or something like that, and you put him at 5 years, he's going to be 30. Now, that's a lot of miles. That's a lot of skating in 5 years, too, especially in the NHL, where the game is definitely a lot more physical and a lot more gruesome than, I would say over in the KHL. Me, personally, haven't watched the KHL before, except at like 3 a.m. in like Canada or something like that. Then again, never been to Canada either, for that matter. Right. But looking at it, I would say 5 years, definitely the safe route you want to go. Towards that 3, maybe 4th year of the contract, maybe add on another year or two to see how he's feeling. If not, then you know what? It's been a good run at 5 years, but first we still just got to sign the guy. Let's sit down and get this thing hammered out.
Let's hammer it out. I think they're confident, so it's just a matter of patience, I think. Jeremiah says, appreciate the insight. Glad to see you guys. Good to see you too, my guy. Absolutely. Hope things are going well. But yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you, Voldy. I think the 5-year deal is perfect. If they do go that route of 7 to 8, I won't be super concerned, because we know what type of talent this guy is. And if obviously, hopefully that they should be able to make a deal where it works for both sides, and the Wild are able to grab some, good players here, hopefully, and have enough room to do that. Obviously, with the Parisi and Suter contracts, and it'll be looming over them for a little bit. So I think Guerin will know what to do when the time's right. We'll see. All right, from the ice rink to the hardwood, the Minnesota Timberwolves had a big trade. They actually got some defense, Voldy. They got defense. Yeah. Finally, the Minnesota Timberwolves acquire Patrick Beverley from the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, that trade was from a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. So the Wolves get Patrick Beverley, and they also give away Jarrett Culver. And a lot of guys I've been looking on the Twitters, they're happy that Culver's gone, apparently.
Interesting.
Juancho Hernan-Gomez. Yeah, I know. Hernan-Gomez, I think, was on his way out at some point, but the Timberwolves go out and get a guy who's he's a great defender, and he can get under people's skins a little bit. Pat Bev can get under people's skins. He's 33. There's a lot. I have a lot to say about this, and again, people think maybe it's a trade chip for Ben Simmons. I don't know, but he's tweeted out already that he's excited to be here, and he's a lot of guys that are wanting to win. Well, we'll see. Obviously, with Ant, Cat, and all those guys, This is the veteran presence I think they needed, and I think it is going to work out well. So, Voldy, your thoughts on the trade? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Timberwolves definitely got the good end of the deal here. I know Hernan Gomez has been hampered with some injury. That's what kept him out of the Olympics as well for Spain. Apparently, Jarrett Culver was a bit of a locker room cancer or something, to the point that guys were happy to see him leave. Former lottery pick. I think it kind of works out. Pat Bev. I mean, I just hope we don't have a whole other Jimmy Bucket situation as well with Patrick Beverley, because a lot of the stuff we're talking about is very reminiscent. What was this, like 3, 4, 5 years ago? We were in the same situation with Jimmy Buckets.
Yes. In some form, but that I think the trade happened in July when he officially got here, and he was all hunky-dory and he was loving it. And then obviously after the season, everything went to hell. So I mean, but yeah, I understand that, and obviously Hunt's, I think, I'll get to Jeremiah's question here because I think it's a very good question. But over and under, I should say or under, I believe that's what Hunt's meant. 5 ejections.
Total or in one game?
That's a good point. You know, I would say I would hope under, but when I saw him push Chris Paul, I think it was when they played when the Clippers played the Suns in the playoffs, I got, you get a little concerned about that. But here's the reason why I like this, is it shows some grit. It shows grit, and I think that's what they need. They need a guy that's going to go in there and play some defense and cause some disruption, okay? That's what they need. They need a veteran guy that knows how to play defense. Well, guess what? Pat Bev knows how to play defense. Now, the one thing that I think we got to be concerned about is the injuries. The past couple seasons, he's been hampered with injuries. Obviously, when they were in the bubble, and then the year after that, he only played like 37 games 2 years ago. So you wonder about that, but I think this is something to, when he gets on the court, there is a chance that you're going to be shutting down some of these, big superstar players. You can score 140 points. You just can't give up 150. That's kind of the main thing. And I think that is going to help with Patrick Beverley shut down some of these point guards. He can play point guard. He's got an okay shot. I don't think it's terrible by any means. And obviously the connection between him and Rosas, since Rosas is the one who drafted him too, that's going to help. That's going to help out a lot. So I think this is like you said, Voldy, I think this works out really well for the Wolves, and I think they could, make some noise here too. I don't think he's a bargaining chip though. Do you think the T-Wolves are going to make any more noise along with Pat Bev? I think so. I think they have to look themselves in the mirror and say, we need to get some more veteran guys. Yes, you have Pat Bev, but who do you have down low that's going to play defense? Good defense. Exactly. Like Cat has tried, but there's been small improvement, but we need someone who's going to go in there and shut down some of these big guys. So I would look for another big guy center, because Hernan Gomez was a big guy too. But now that he's traded, what are you going to do? Hunt says he shoots 40% for 3 off the pass, while Ricky Rubio was 30%. Big upgrade from 3-point right there. You hearing that, Cole Munson? You hearing that, my friend? It's all about this. You got to be able to shoot. You got to be able to shoot. It's
not always about the shooting.
And guess, it's funny? I mentioned his name, and he comments right here. There he is. Overall, great deal for the Wolves. Culver, Hernan Gomez were never going to play the minutes this year. 2 worthless pieces for a solid backup point guard. Wow, you calling him worthless? That's kind of mean. You're kind of a mean person, Munson. But no, I agree. I think this deal was done. I'm happy that it was done. And obviously, he's a better shooter than Ricky Rubio. So there's that. Cole, what do you have to say to that? Huh? What do you got to say to that? I want to hear it. But, Yeah, this is good. And like Jeremiah said, I think that they're going to go after some more guys here. And they have to if they know, okay, is Cat going to improve his defense or what? We know what we're getting. And Ant's still growing. I mean, he's still only 19 right now? Guy's got a lot of potential. Absolute potential. LOL, better shooter, worse player. I don't know. Not by far. Not by far. I love getting Munson going on the whole Rubio thing. All right. Well, anyway, I think it's got our stamps of approval if we were doing absurd or approved. But, yeah, that'll do it for Tater Tot. Hot take this week. And if you missed the news before, Zoners, we are doing a Pick'em League for MinneZona for the Zoners. You don't have to buy in. You don't have to pay us any money. You get in for free, and you earn a chance to win some Zona merch and bragging rights over the Zoners. Bragging rights over some Zoners, okay? So if you want to be in our NFL Pick'em, please let me know. I'll send you the link after the show, and we'll get you set up. So that is the big news. That's big news. So we'll keep you entertained. So anyway, moving on to Callahan School of Logic this week. There's been a lot of talking about the preseason game with the Vikings. I've got a lot of thoughts about that. Now, it wasn't a great game for the Purple, but there are some things that frustrate me, and I've been looking on the socials medias and whatnot. So we better get into it before I blow a gasket here. So let's get it rolling with some Callahan School of Logic.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, Zoners, Voldy, get your pens, get your notebooks. We're sitting in class. We got a lot to talk about with this Vikings preseason game. Now, in the lower third, why does it say preseason panic? Is because I think there are a lot of, and it's not the Zoners, because we love our Zoners, but there are a lot of Twitter people and Facebook, I guess for that matter, on these Vikings pages that I follow as well. So here's what I want to get to. Was it a bad game? Sure, absolutely. I think a lot of the guys. A lot of these second stringers and third stringers weren't ready to go. And in this league, you have to be ready at any point. I mean, if Rodgers goes down, Jordan Love's got to be ready to go, right? So there's that. If Kirk Cousins, goes down, then Monten's got to be ready to go. We have to remember, before the game, and we knew this a little bit before, a lot of the starters weren't going to play. 30 Vikings didn't play. Mostly starters. Okay, mostly starters. This comes as no surprise because this is a 3-game preseason. 3. The first one is kind of rest some guys, things like that. The second one is the dress rehearsal, people. Okay? So, and for the Zoners, I want to finish what I'm saying, and then I'm going to get to you guys as well. So, you can comment away. We'll get it right to you, and you can give your opinion, okay, on this whole thing. The performance was abysmal. Was bad. It wasn't good. We all agree on that. But we can't forget that Denver was starting Drew Lock. Denver was starting Teddy. Teddy played well. Good for him. KJ Hamler was playing. He's a potential. He's going to be a good player. Fast guy. Jerry Jeudy was playing. Patrick Surtain was playing. Yes, I know he's a rookie and everything. Like you want to give him reps, but again, they played a lot of guys that are supposed to play well. they took advantage of some second string, third string, fourth string guys. Okay, so let's not forget that. Okay. Now, almost every Viking that played on Saturday had a bad game. I'm going to highlight a couple. Okay, and the one that disappointed me the most was Cam Dantzler. I'm telling you right now, on that 80-yard bomb that Drew Lock had to KJ Hamler, I hate to say it, but Cam Dantzler half-assed that thing. Absolutely 100% half-assed it. I saw him get beat and just kind of 50% sprint or something like that. When you're trying to win a spot across from Patrick Peterson and or, with Rashad Breeland, and after you had the experience last season and you do something like that, that's not going to earn you any trust with Zim or Patterson and, Zim's kid on the defense against some second-string guys. That disappointed me the most. With Cam Dantzler. And he's got to have a hell of a better game on this Saturday now. Because if he doesn't, you're going to be back behind some guys and that you thought, well, shoot, And Chris Boyd had a nice pass breakup against Jerry Jeudy. You might want to get your game going here a little bit, Cam Dantzler. All right, this one comes as no surprise. Dakota Dozier. What the hell? I mean, good Lord. I don't know if you watched a lot of the game, Voldy, or did you watch the game or no?
Oh, I watched.
Oh, you watched it. Okay, good. So you saw the Dakota Dozier and the zoners, I assume, watch most of it too. The holding in the back of the end zone, and he's getting bullied by a former Viking by the name of Shamar Stephen. Now, I think Shamar Stephen was really good in the run game, but you got bullied by him and other guys as well. I mean, it's not just like they're having Shamar Stephen go in every play, but it was multiple times I'm seeing you get pushed back into the quarterback, into Jake Browning, into Kellen Mond at some points too. And his PFF grade, and his pro football focus for people that don't know, was 29%. Terrible for a starter that started last year. Dakota Dozier. Come on, man. Honestly, I thought you would be a serviceable guy, but you have fallen off a cliff, my friend. And I hate to say it, Voldy, it's time to move on. It's time to move on from Dakota Dozier. It is time. Now, a lot of people are like, he should be cut right after the game. Just wait. I think it's going to happen. So I think we all need to understand that. It's going to happen at some point. It's time to move on from that. So we have a lot of things to there's a lot of zoners chiming in. I'm loving this right now. Let's not freak out right now. A lot of people on the social medias, and I'm not saying it's the zoners, like I said, but they're already writing off this team. They're like, they're not going anywhere. God forbid if our first stringers go down, we're in trouble. It's the first game of the freaking preseason. Calm the F down, people. Jeez. I mean, I don't know. There might be some people that are just getting people going, which, it's very common. But the people that think that we should, fire Zimmer, fire this. Good Lord. The first preseason game. 30 of your guys aren't starting. I mean, they're not starting. Okay? 30 guys that are usually starting weren't playing. Okay? So shut up with that. Please. If you're going to rip someone, rip the performance of the second and third string guys. And Zimmer did. He said that was a very poor performance. Obviously, he probably said something in the locker room that we can't repeat. And I think this is perfect. It's something along those lines, obviously, with Zim on the soundbite here. But if you're going to rip anybody, you have to rip those guys that are trying to win a spot. And maybe go after some of the coaching staff. And I saw some people like, why wasn't, Kubiak letting Mon let it rip, downfield and everything. I don't know. Because maybe they don't want to show some of the plays that they'll be doing during the season. I understand that. But at the same time, it's the first freaking preseason game. Relax. And it was Zimmer's decision to bench these guys for game one. Fans should have known that going in. With the amount of starters that have been out. I already went over this. All in all, I don't want to get to the zoners here, and then I want to get to Voldy. The performance was disappointing, but the logic in this is to not let this game dictate what will happen this season. I believe on the commentary they did say that, or no, I think it was on Twitter. I read something. The Vikings got their ass kicked. It was the 2017 season in the preseason.
Yeah,
and they won 13-3. They went to the NFC Championship game. We don't need to go further on that.
Yeah,
but
the preseason doesn't mean anything.
Right, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. But the logic in this, let's not let this game dictate what they're trying to do. Let's see what happens this Saturday and as the season goes on. Don't let this dictate the rest of the season. It's one preseason game, for God's sake. Mm-hmm. Some people, I tell you. All right, Voldy, let's get to the zoners. I'm hearing, people chiming in here. Hunt says it's preseason football. People need to stop over-analyzing things. Don't worry until the final week. If things don't get better, then start worrying. Bingo. Literally what I just said. Let's just do what we do every year. Pray that Aaron Rodgers gets injured. I don't hope that it'd be nice not having him and everything, but, obviously it's...
Let's just hope he gets benched this year.
Yeah, there you go. I like that better. How does he still earn a paycheck? And I believe this was to the Dakota Dozier.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And obviously, it's disappointing. He had all the time in the world to get it figured out. All right, our guy Mikey, he's on here. Let's see how much I can get on this. Oh, we got everything. Here we go.
Holy cow!
Preseason saying that the season is lost on this preseason game. Don't know what they are talking about. The game was abysmal, and we know the Vikings need to improve on the depth situation, especially on the defense and the offensive line. Everson Griffin, but we didn't play any of the difference makers we do and have some injuries on the O-line. I'm concerned about the depth, but the preseason is where the backups learn and make the team. Thank you. See, that's why, and we're going to have Mikey on here soon as well to go over the preseason. Yeah, it's going to happen. Munson, watched it live. Our defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. Yes. The line looked lost. Yes. Jake Browning looked in over his head. Yes.
1,000 times.
That pick, he hesitated way too much. Way too much. And the announcers even say he's hesitating. Or, PA and Bursich were saying, I should say. Jeremiah says, I saw a Cowboys preseason game a couple of years ago, and it was the saddest thing ever. That's what you get with the Dallas Cowboys.
Football game or being at a preseason football game?
Maybe
Need
both.
More specification on that.
Both. I'd probably say both in some aspect. If they ended up 8-8, so it's not the end of the world, LOL. Well, now it'd be like 8-9 or whatever it is now.
Yeah, it's something weird like that.
Hunt says Mond is a rookie. Playbook is very limited. They want him to learn before letting him loose. Yeah, exactly. You can't just expect him to have a performance like Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields had a good first preseason game. Doesn't mean that he's going to be amazing. I think he'll be good, but... All right, Voldy, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? What do you think?
Look,
hit us.
I think it all comes down to how the preseason is scheduled right now. You got 3 preseason games to figure out who's going to be on your team, who's not going to be on your team. And, well, we're already 1 game in. That leaves 2. We have already seen some guys that have been cut for various reasons as well. But when you rest your entire, mostly starters, maybe a couple of, second-string guys that play a lot of downs for your team, get a lot of plays, you set yourself up for something like that. I would imagine game 2, most of those guys, if not all of them, will be suiting up early and often, especially in the first half. Maybe they'll get a quarter, maybe they'll get most of the first half. That's the kind of the way that a lot of teams are trying to figure out what to do. A lot of teams went in either direction. We're going to play our starters for most of the first half, and then that's it. Or we're going to rest our starters for this week, and then they'll play most of the next week as well. That's, it's a flip of a coin, honestly. And you know what? It just so happened that they ran into a buzzsaw with, the starters for Denver playing for that case. You would think that both these teams would be like, hey, we're going to rest our starters. You want what are you kind of thinking and planning or whatever? It's like, okay, we're going to rest our starters or we're going to play our starters. But then at the same time, then it doesn't make it, a fair enough evaluation for your team to see what some of these bubble guys are doing about. And I'll agree. Cam Dantzler, Dakota Dozier played like trash this past week, which is putting it very, very lightly as well. Cam Dantzler, like you said, he kind of half-assed it on that 80-yard bomb. But at the same time, I mean, come on. How wide open does a guy need to be? Drew Lock had a field day in the backfield. I mean, he had plenty of room to work with, and he just cocked one back there and just let her rip and just made everybody look good. Teddy, it was great to see Teddy once again.
Yeah.
And, see what might have been. I mean, it was great. I was rooting for Teddy the whole time, and it makes it weird as well. But you know what? Hopefully he ends up, a strong contender in this situation, whether Denver goes with Drew Lock or not to start the year. Very interesting to see. But, yeah, Dakota Dozier, I mean, what the hell at this point? You would think you'd get it figured out by this point, but apparently logic is not a strong suit enough to get thrown around by one of his old teammates, and then the fact that second and third string guys are trying to battle it out for positions. Well, there's some third and fourth string guys that are looking a lot better than what Dakota Dozier is bringing out right now. When you don't play your starters, this is the situation that happens as well. Let's just hope against Indianapolis here coming up here this Saturday that they do play a bunch of their starters and see what'll happen.
And I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to play their starters, and they're going to play. I think they're going to play well. I won't be able to watch it, but I obviously I'll get them updates. There is some breaking news, by the way, Voldy. Linebacker, or I think he was technically a safety too. Cameron Smith just announced his retirement after his first game back from open heart surgery. He got a concussion in last week's game, so we are thin. I think it's more. I think they were actually putting him at safety, but I could be wrong too. He was playing. Yeah, he was 30. Yeah, so I guess you could be thin, from that position too. But they'll be looking into some guys. Obviously, coming back from open heart surgery and playing I think they're just more. I think he's concerned with his health, and it's a tough draw. So we wish him the best, Cameron Smith, and whatnot. So. USC guy, by the way, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Stuffage, I like this one. This is good. Is it just me that I like it when Matty C gets pissed / annoyed? Yeah. Well, as long as you like it, it's great. I hate.
For a great show.
Yeah. I hate that I have to do it because things that frustrate me, there's a lot of things that frustrate me in sports. The poll ads, the ants, Sean Payton, Drew Brees. Just a whole slew of things. The top 10 and famous lists as well. I mean, the list goes on. But I think to round it all off, let's see what happens in the preseason game. And I think on Saturday, and I think Zim's going to have these guys ready to go. And I believe, from what I understand from my sources, is that practice has been high octane. Okay, so it's going to be. It's going to be you're going to see a different team, I think, out there on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than listening to Tyler sing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Is that really true? Is that really true? I don't know.
I think he's trolling us. It's Tyler Meyer. We all know. I
want him to tune in, though. That's the I want him to tune in. I want to hear what he has to say. Well,
it's too good for us, remember?
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, that'll do it for Callahan School of Logic. I think all the zoners agree. Voldy agrees as well. But for the zoners that are tuning in, we got some new zoners tuning in and whatnot. The big announcement, we are doing a MinneZona Pick'em, NFL Pick'em each week. It's free. You don't have to do it. We're doing it on the CBS Sports app. We have a pool set up. If you want to be in it, let me know. Let Voldy know. Let the Curve Doctor know. We'll get you set up. It's free. You don't have to do anything. You just say, Matty C, send me that link. Send me an invite. We're going to do it. And if you win, you get free Zona merch, baby. Why not? So it's going to be great. We got the stickers, and obviously Voldy's got the stickers for us too. So that's the big announcement. If you guys want to join, we'll get it set up. Tell your friends. Tell whoever you want. We'll get you set up. All right, anyway, Voldy, let's get it rolling with some absurd or approved. One involves Tebow. Oh, boy, here we go. Then we got some college football. We're going to talk about J.R. Smith, apparently. Does he know what the score is right now? Mahomes.
Does he have a shirt on?
Yeah, does he have a shirt on?
Good question.
Mahomes and also some NHL. Speaking of which, and obviously this is an NHL jersey, but we're talking jerseys. So let's get it going. Let's approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, Voldy zoners, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, after the first preseason game across the NFL, first round of cuts come through, and one significant cut came in the form of a third, maybe fourth string tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, someone by the name of Tim or Tom Tebow or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But apparently this Tebow guy has got quite a name for himself. Trying to make a return in the NFL as a tight end after playing years as a quarterback, the 2007 Heisman Trophy winner was part of the first round of cuts for the Jacksonville Jaguars, thus ending his shot at a comeback for the NFL as well. But this does raise a lot of eyebrows, and hearing some rumblings early on, obviously not 100% conclusive, with Tim Tebow on social media saying that his career is done for good. Did sign that one-year contract back in May as a tight end with the Jaguars, and of course his old college football coach, that being Urban Meyer, running the show down in Jacksonville. I mean, he played 16 snaps, was targeted once in the loss to the Cleveland Browns, but unfortunately just didn't really seem to work out all that well for Tim Tebow. So the question is, DJ Matty C, is it absurd or approved? Is this the last we see of Tim Tebow in the NFL?
Yes. Stamp of approval. The reason why I say this is because I don't wish ill will for Tim Tebow. I think Tim Tebow in the NFL was great. I think he had some good games. I don't wish him ill will. I think he's a good person. I think he's been a great analysis too for college football and other stuff. But I think it's time to call it a career. And I understand him wanting to come back out there. Urban Meyer giving him a shot. I knew this was going to happen because I just didn't think he was going to make the team and or play a lot. I give him applause for trying, though. I really do. And I think, he wanted a shot, and, he got it in the preseason game, but he whiffed. I mean, it wasn't the best preseason game for him. And I don't think he made a sideshow of himself. I don't believe that. I think he actually was trying to get back in and prove to people, hey, look, I can be be a different player, be a tight end. And he gave it a shot, and it didn't work. Oh, well. It happens. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I think he's done. And, he's got plenty of other things he can do. And I think there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, it's got my stamp of approval. I'll get to you, Voldy, in a sec. The one block Tebow tried to make was a total flop, like in men's soccer. It wasn't great. It was terrible. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It wasn't. It was terrible. It was not a good block. Easy says approved. Now, Hunts, this is the person I wanted to hear from.
Here we go.
He's 33, trying to play tight end for the first time. What did you really expect? That's what I said. I didn't expect a lot, and I knew this was going to happen. That's all I'm saying. it's nothing against the guy. Just saying, it's just how it is. All right, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is the end of the road for Tim Tebow. He really doesn't have anything else to prove. Played minor league baseball for a handful of years. He ended up doing fairly well in his time. Coming into the NFL, you know what? Not a lot of people had high expectations. He blew those expectations. Obviously, there's a lot of drawbacks with his career overall, but you know what? He can definitely say that he reached one of the highest levels in multiple sports. Not a lot of people can say that about themselves and performing in life as well. He's got a lot of things off the field he's working on, too. Obviously, he's preaching, and he also works with the SEC network. He doesn't really have a whole lot else to prove when it comes to performance on the field. I think it was just one of those that he just wanted to go out there and see if he still had it. And you know what? There were glimpses.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, learning a new position at 33 years old in a position at the highest level that you never played before, that's definitely not going to get. That's like you and me going into a Michelin star restaurant and then expecting to cook for guests and everything. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna be pretty. I'll tell you that right now.
Out of here.
No matter
Bro,
how
I've been
much
here the
Food
whole
Network
time.
I end up watching, it's not gonna go well for anybody. I think it's got my stamp of approval. Obviously, it's been one heck of a run. We can always look back at those fantastic years down in Florida, the early goings in Denver and what have you. But you know what? It was a good run overall.
It was a good run. I don't know. Maybe coaching. That's an idea.
I can see it.
I could see it. I think 100%. Hunt says he's not MJ. He's been out of the league for 8 years. It was going to be tough, but he's a guy that takes that toughness to the next level. He is. I mean, he's a tough guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, anyway, I think it's TebowTime's done. That's what I think. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we go on to that. The college football season literally just around the corner here this week, and the Associated Press did reveal their top 25 with no strangers in the top 5 this year, being the likes of Alabama at number 1. Then that's the 4th time in the past 6 seasons that they are at number 1, followed by Oklahoma at 2, Clemson at number 3, Ohio State at 4, and Georgia at the number 5 spot for this year. You can round off the rest of the top 5 as well. The top 25, I should say, as well. SEC holds 5 teams in the top 20. Big Ten's got 5 teams. Pac-12's got 5 teams. 3 in the ACC, 3 in the Big 12, 2 in the Sun Belt, 1 in the All-American Conference, and then 1 independent, obviously, that being Notre Dame in the mix as well. But looking at the entire top 25, and especially Alabama at that top spot, absurd or approved, Alabama will be the number 1 team and also national champion at the end of the season.
I really had to think long and hard about this when I saw this when we were prepping this week. Stamp of approval. I think the Crimson Tide are ready to reload and get going. Now, they lose Mac Jones. They lose Najee Harris. They lose Devontae. I mean, they lose talent. But they also bring back a lot of guys. They bring in a lot of guys, from recruiting. Brian Robinson needs a bigger role, okay? Bryce Young, another one, a former 5-star recruit from Cali, baby. So I could see that. I think they have the best chance of repeating. Now, there is a team that has had their number, and for some, in some of the years and whatnot, Clemson. And the reason why I say Clemson is Dabo always kind of finds a way now. Now, I'm not saying it's their kryptonite or anything like that. I'm just saying, I think they can go toe-to-toe with them. Oklahoma, I feel like Oklahoma, and it's no disrespect to Oklahoma. I think they come out with, I think Spencer Rattler's a good quarterback. But we always hype Oklahoma up in the BCS, but they never really follow through.
Nope.
I hate to say, and I don't mean that to try and say, Oklahoma's a bad school, but they never do anything with it. Ohio State, it's the same deal. It's the same deal with Ohio State. They get into the playoff. Yes, they've won one, but they always, any Big Ten school, they take on Alabama, they take on Clemson, they just get routed. Now, I'm not saying that they can't do anything this year, but, if you're going to go to the Gophers and say, well, maybe the Gophers can beat Ohio State, let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes on that. And not far behind them is Iowa State. And I do like Iowa State a lot, and I think Iowa State could give them a hell of a time. So we'll see. But yeah, Georgia, I think you got to look at Georgia too. I always liked Georgia. I think, they've been in games against Alabama. They've come close, but they've lost. But I'd keep an eye out for Georgia if they come up. But I think Bama's the number one team. I think they have the best chance at winning the national title. I think they're going to do it. So stamp of approval for that. Let's get to the zoners real quick. Alabama with their $5 million QB. Georgia normal overranked. Yeah, that's true. Gophers national champs. You're nominated for absurd statement now. Good job, Cole.
Way to go, guy.
That'd be pretty funny. Iowa State will give Oklahoma a ride this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what I said. It's perfect. We're on the same page, Hans. All right, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I see this as Alabama each year. It's their season to lose, basically. It's their national title. When are we going to get to the point, like in soccer, when a team does so good, they have to move up a level? Alabama's playing the NFL, and then you get, the New York Jets and Jacksonville playing in, some slack-jaw conference. Let's go with, the Sun Belt. Or, let's make them an independent so they can play whoever the heck they want as well. That's what we really want to see in pro sports, too, is teams moving up and down a level. But Alabama, again, this is their season to lose. Let's see what Clemson does this year with Big Cinco at quarterback this year, taking the full reins out of everything. It'd be very, very interesting to see how this season does wrap up. But again, it's my stamp of approval going with Alabama this year.
Yeah, I feel like Nick Saban just has this down to a science. I mean, it's crazy how well he does. Man. Stop drinking the Georgia Kool-Aid, Matt. I'm just saying. I think Georgia, you got to watch out for Georgia. They always have had some gritty teams, but I did say, they struggle when they get to that point. But I don't know. Yeah, I think we're all in on Bama this year. What about Florida? Hunts, tell us that. We'll see. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, here's an interesting story on what J.R. Smith is up to. For those who don't know, J.R. Smith, former NBA champion. I don't know why I was about to say WNBA. Goodness gracious.
It's all good.
Oh, I've been up since 4 a.m. I'm just happy my eyes are still open right now. But former NBA standout J.R. Smith said earlier this week, and in fact this past week, that he had recently enrolled to attend North Carolina A&T University to obviously get a higher education, a historically black college and university. But he also intends to join the university men's golf team if he gets cleared by the NCAA. It's been 14 years, make that up to 17 years now since he's been in high school. But it also works out to J.R. Smith's to his favor because he went straight from high school to the NBA. So his eligibility clock hasn't started. Got the 4 years of eligibility, of complete eligibility, but get 5 years to do so as well. Looking at the entire situation overall, is it absurd or approved? Should a J.R. Smith be allowed to compete in collegiate golf?
Wow, yeah, this is kind of, at first I was looking at this and I'm like, why is he doing this? I don't understand. I don't quite get why he's doing this, but now then you start to read the article and you see, interesting. So the one tidbit that I find interesting, and apparently Ray Allen kind of convinced him to go back to school. Now, let's remember, J.R. Smith went from high school to the NBA. He skipped college. So now he's going to North Carolina. He had a golf trip with Allen, and this is quoted from him. We had a little golf trip, and then quotations, the Dominican Republic. And he was talking about some of the things he was doing, going back to school and challenging yourself for us athletes. I really took heed to it and decided to go back. And one of the best liberal studies programs is at A&T. So I look at that quote and I say, okay, he's going back to school. Maybe he wants to get his degree, and he should. Now, he's not the only one that's done that. Dalvin did it. Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison did it as well. So we can't forget that. I think this is great. Now, for him playing golf, from what I understand, and I'm going to take Hunts' word for it, but he's a pretty decent golfer. And, I think it'll be interesting. And he's got, 4 or 5 years of eligibility, I think, to play.
You get 4. Yeah. You get 5 years to do 4 complete years of eligibility. Say you get hurt. Say you get, there's some sort of academic ineligibility. 10 semesters. It's the 10 semester rule is kind of what it is. So I kind of remember that a little bit with working with the baseball team at Southwest. That was something that reared its ugly head a couple of times, but able to make it work. And some guys were able to get that 5th year of eligibility too.
So I think looking at this, it's got my stamp of approval. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I think it's great. He's going back to school. He's trying to get a degree and whatnot, and not only that, he gets to play some golf. Now, I think they're going to look at this and say, well, I don't think he's going to go out there and dominate all these other golfers that are playing. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll do well. Maybe he'll win the tournament. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll see. For an amateur golfer, remember, not like Steph Curry. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. I mean, if he's gonna golf, that's fine. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. The one thing before I get to you, Voldy, is he's got to keep his shirt on. So
I would certainly hope so.
I would certainly hope so. Going back to school and come out debt free. Hopefully he saved some of his money. Fingers crossed. All right, Voldy, what do you think?
You see it in all other sports. I mean, there's been multiple cases where guys have come either out of the military or playing professional sports that have played football in college. Chris Wenke was Heisman Trophy winner at Florida State. Remember Brandon Whedon? He was 26 when he came and played for Oklahoma State or something like that. He was a professional baseball player for a handful of times before ended up going and playing college football as well. So this is just another instance where it happens. Just so happens to be a guy who's won an NBA championship and, made a name for himself a little bit. So I don't see why not. I mean, if he's technically academically eligible, it's going to be hard to track down some of those transcripts from 2004. That's kind of one of the big holdups right now. I don't see why not. There is any reason why he can't play. So it's got my stamp of approval.
Sorry, I was laughing at Munson's comment here, but now that the NCAA allowed sponsors, he can get that Henny sponsorship. Might as well. But one thing I might be concerned about, too, is will he know what score he got on each hole? Will he know that he got a bogey, double bogey? Because he didn't know what the score was against the Warriors in that finals game. So hopefully he... now I'm just getting too ahead of myself on that. But I really hope he does well. I really do. And I think we'll be hearing from it. The thing is you got to study now, JR. You got to study, my friend. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, it was announced here earlier this week that Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes literally has nothing better to do with his time than be almost a half a billionaire and all the ownership opportunities and partnerships and investment groups. Why not throw a shoe in the mix?
Why not?
It was announced that Adidas, along with Patrick Mahomes, did announce the imminent release of his first signature shoe, the Mahomes 1 Impact Flex, or FLX. I think it's going to be pronounced Flex or what have you. And, well, looking at the hype video behind it, simple question, absurd or approved. Would you rock a pair of the Mahomes 1s?
Ooh, how much is it going to cost me? That's my question.
Exactly.
Well, if the price goes down and, well, maybe if we send Patrick Mahomes a MinneZona shirt, maybe he'd send us a pair. I don't know. Would I buy one? If the price goes down,
Exactly.
I think they'll look pretty sweet. I think the superstardom is already there with Patrick Mahomes, and he he deserves to, do what he wants with the shoe. Now, let's hope that the shoe is good. It's got to be, the big thing is there are some shoes that just didn't work out. AI shoes were great. I loved AI shoes. Starburys were sweet. But, let's hope that, Mahomes' shoe is good as well. I think Vince Young had one when he first started or something like that. I used to actually have cleats that were Vince Young shoes. So they were pretty sweet, though. But I mean, it's got my stamp of approval that, he's doing it and whatnot, having a shoe. But it's absurd what the price will be, I think. So I'm bracing myself for that. So I probably won't get a shoe just because of, pricing. And obviously, we got to pay bills around here, which is the main thing with us. But I think the shoe is going to look great. And, I don't see why it wouldn't. Easy says I'll buy it for $30.
Me too.
I would too. Am I going to get a toe injury from them? Ouch! That's a shot at Mahomes. Probably. A little bit. Maybe, who knows? But either way, I think the shoe will look good. The price will be astronomical, so I probably won't be able to get it. But you never know. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, if they had size 15s and they were $30, I'd buy a pair. But beyond that, probably not going to be happening anytime soon. So, it's absurd.
Okay. I mean, I think it's that simple. It's absurd because we know what the price is going to be. The shoe's going to look sick, I think. But I just don't think we're going to be able to get any of those. So, unless someone dropped them on the street and they're just sitting there, you never know. But, yeah. Anyway. Last one, Voldy.
All right, this is one that is already giving me a headache if I didn't have a raging one to begin with. But it was announced earlier this week that the NHL Board of Governors and its teams will be allowing to have advertising on the front of team jerseys for the first time starting not this coming season, 2020-2023. Now, the ads will be featured in a 3x5, a 3x3.5 inch rectangle, which is much larger than some of their competitors, but it is only the groundwork of things to come. Now, I have seen things in the past about, obviously practice jerseys have seen a lot more advertising as of late, which is just fine. But you throw in the mix of where some other teams and some other leagues have gone when it comes to advertising on uniforms. This is only the start of things to come. Is it absurd or approved, the NHL pimping out their jerseys in order to make a cheap buck?
In order to make a cheap buck, I think, is the main thing, or the main thing that you said in this. And I feel like they're just taking after what the NBA is doing. I think they're just trying to make more revenue. Bettman said in his quote, I wouldn't necessarily say it's inevitable. It's something that makes good sense for us to be considering and looking at, but certainly not for the next season. What happens beyond that, I'm not prepared to predict. Fancy way of saying it's going to happen, so just let it happen. I looked at some of the photos that you have on here, Voldy. I feel it's a little much. I think there's just a lot.
That's just in Europe, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I guess I'm not... I get that you want to make money and everything like that, but it's just so... I don't know. I'm just so used to a jersey being just, 84, NFL equipment, Reebok. This is an older Randy Moss jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Reebok type of thing. I'm just so used to that. But I get why you want to make more revenue and all that stuff. So I'm just going to say it's absurd. I'm an original person. I like the jerseys, plain jerseys like this. Like a, Justin Jefferson type of, I got the Justin Jefferson jersey. I got the Daniil Hunter jersey. They got the Nike on them and everything. But I feel like they're just going to overdo it a little bit. So. That's just my thinking. Voldy, what do you think?
Look, I'm all about trying to make the most out of a situation.
Sure.
When it comes to uniforms, there's a lot of things that are sacred. The NHL is one of those that is trying to take the sacredness of the game, the uniforms, some of the iconic logos that have been worn for well over 100 years now, and basically throwing it in the trash, lighting it on fire, and then pissing on the flames to try and put it out. That is the way that the NHL is trying to go right now. It's just completely absurd, the fact the NHL wants to go this route. Look, I was okay with the fact that, you advertise on the practice jersey. You wear them every day. It's fine. Minnesota Wild, I think theirs is Tria or something like that, since they already have the Tria rink or whatever that they practice in. Now imagine that, or maybe like Mayo Clinic, and just smack dab right in the middle, right where this 5 would be if it was a hockey jersey. Mm-hmm. Boom, right there. There's your logo. Here come the Minnesota Trias, or whatever major sponsor, the Minnesota Mayo Clinics, if you will. Yeah. That's the same thing that's happening in the NBA right now. You look at, or WNBA, excuse me. See, now I went the other direction. You look at a WNBA uniform right now, you have no idea what team it is. Minnesota Lynx, they're the Minnesota Mayo Clinics right now. I think like the Lynx logo is like, up here in the corner or something like that. That's ridiculous. Now, I will say the WNBA needs as much money as possible, even though some of the great players of the time and of the generation are playing there right now, and it's definitely underserved in that area. But getting back to the point of NHL pimping out their uniforms, look, no, stop it. If you want to know the absurdity of this, go ahead, get on your phone after the stream, though, and type in European professional hockey jerseys, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's some guys that I know that have played over in Europe, that are playing over in Europe, and their uniforms are ridiculous. Head to toe insanity. Yeah, I posted some of them right there. There are some crazy looking uniforms as well. It's just insane how they have gone this route, and it's crazy. It's a really cool collector's item, but you don't want to see that, because next thing you know, you're just looking all over the place. You don't even know what you're looking at. You don't even know if the guy has a name or not, or if the name on the back of the uniform is some sort of other sponsor. It's completely absurd. NHL needs to stop doing this, because next thing you know, the uniforms are just going to be rendered obsolete altogether, and guys are just going to be wearing giant billboards as they won't even have numbers. Yeah. There's going to be,
forget the number.
It's going to be last name and then the sponsor. Not even the name. Like youth jerseys, there's like a sponsor where the name should be. Yeah. So that's where we're going.
I know, well, it's not a sponsor, but I know they have like if there's no checking, the stop thing on the back of their jerseys or whatnot. Yeah. But that just reminded me of that. But I like a couple of these comments. Stuffage, my guy Stuffage. This ain't NASCAR. Quit it, NHL.
Thank you.
And then Easy. Looks like a NASCAR car. LOL.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, I'm more of the old school guy. Well, I'm with you. I agree. I just think it's just like, let's just keep adding more sponsors. It's like, whatever happened to just a nice... just a nice jersey, not all these frickin', all these places like McDonald's is on there for one of them. The Diners Club International, it's just, there's a bunch of stuff on there. So, yeah, look it up. I encourage you to look it up if you couldn't see it.
Please do. Well. You'll have yourself a great time.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Voldy. Absurd. We're going to leave it at that. So, anyway, great job with AR8 this week. Again, Voldy. And it's time for some Shield shoutouts. We got a lot of cool Shield shoutouts. Especially, that jersey you're wearing and the hat and whatnot. It involves a person that we know very well and we love. We do love a lot. So, and, obviously, Voldy's son is named Case as well, with a K. But I think this is going to be another great Shield shout-out. So let's get it going. What's up? Shield shout-outs.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who ya shouting out tonight?
Well, I do have to send a big Shield shout out to my good buddy Cody Nicholas Tavares Curtis for deciding to come up this past weekend and hang out a little bit, say hi, and meet up with some friends and You know what? Even meet Case for the very first time.
Sure.
So Uncle Cody, as he's been dubbed, definitely got to meet Case for the very first time. Had a great time. We went out. We watched the Vikings game, did some grilling Saturday night, watched the Bears, watched the Cleveland Browns beat up on Jacksonville. So a big Shield shout out to Cody Curtis for that. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns, hence why I am wearing proudly my Case Keenum number 5 jersey.
For the
big
keepers.
Shield shout out to Cleveland Browns quarterback Case Keenum on starting off the 2021 campaign. Solid start in the preseason, a win over in Jacksonville, going 12 of 17, 115 yards, and led a couple of scoring drives in that game, which ended up being a win.
Watch out,
for
Baker.
Cleveland Browns. Yes, sir. Watch out, Baker. I'm just throwing that out there once again. This past week, we had a couple of retirements, unfortunately, one being a former New England Patriots running back, being the likes of, and Super Bowl 51 champ, Dion Lewis, unfortunately, decided to hang up the cleats as well. A career that was hampered in the early goings by injury. Ended up making a nice spot for himself with the New England Patriots in the return game in the backfield as well. Ended up leading to a Super Bowl ring, Super Bowl 51 in the comeback against the Atlanta Falcons. So happy retirement to Dion Lewis. And we also had to say happy trails from retirement to U.S. women's soccer player Carly Lloyd, who was going to be hanging it up from international competition. She announced on Monday she finishing her international career after taking bronze in this past year's Olympics as well a couple weeks ago. 2-time World Cup winner, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, bronze as well, to throw in second most ever goals scored in international competition, 128. Happy retirement to Carly Lloyd. Still playing with her club team right now in the National Women's Soccer League, so we'll see if there are some indications that she might finish up after this season as well, but that has yet to be seen as well, so we'll definitely keep our eyes out for that announcement, and that is going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
A great set of Shield shoutouts this week, especially, obviously, Case Keenum. We love Case Keenum here. He's did such a great job for the Minnesota Vikings in that 2017 season, which was great. And Dion Lewis, yeah, that surprised me a little bit. That one definitely surprised me. Oh, his retirement, I should say. And Carly Lloyd, who's been fantastic for the USA women's soccer. A lot of people look up to her. And whatnot, and I assume person who did play, not only my sister played soccer too, but Caitlin Toner, I think, knows Carly Lloyd fairly well too. So obviously, happy retirement to Carly Lloyd and Dion Lewis and Cody for meeting Case the first time, because why the heck not? Why the heck not? You love it. All right. Before we wrap things up, and usually we go, oh, yeah, sweatshirts, shirts. Well, there is a way you can get free stuff, like we have been talking about all show. Zoners.
All show.
We are doing a MinneZona NFL Pick'em on CBS Sports. We have a pool ready to go. If you would like to join to try and earn a chance to win MinneZona merch, you can. It's free. Buy-in is free. We got it for you. We got a shirt waiting for you, and/or sweatshirt. And we got some breaking news. Breaking news. It's Jimbo. It's our guy Jimbo. Ready?
Lay shim.
Hats are on order, baby. Surprise, surprise. We are getting hats for the zoners.
People.
It is looking pretty doggone good. Obviously, this isn't a MinneZona hat, but look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, that's a good-looking hat there, Callahan.
I know, and I believe there's one on the way. A Viking hat, I should say. But hats are on order. If you would like some hats, let us know. We're still working out, a lot of but hats are coming, people. It's going to be awesome. And not only that, I mean, with this MinneZona Pick'em, and anybody can join. So make sure if you want to be in on it, we'll get you set up. We'll send an invite. We'll have a big post here after the show and/or tomorrow. Yeah, we'll get it rolling for you. But hats are on order. We'll keep in touch with Jimbo on that. Sign me up, Easy says. Take my CC. Hey, we'll get you signed up, me boy. All right, but without further ado, we like I said, if you're like, well, I might as well pay for one because it not only helps us pay for a shirt, but it helps us keep this on air, guys. It keeps
Seriously.
us on air, okay? This is a great shirt, okay? It's 5 out of 5 stars. And not only that, you know what also helps? Having those stickers. Voldy has the stickers, okay? $2 for the small one, $3 for the bigger ones, and we got plenty of them. And obviously, we got some window decals. I think people want some window decals. Let's get that to them. So if you buy that, obviously this helps us keep the show on air. It provides for the internet service and whatnot. And the big news tonight, folks, hats are on order, baby. Let's get it rolling. I love it. It helps us keep this on the air. So anyway, we thank National Fleet Graphics, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for getting those stickers for us, and obviously they look fantastic. And make sure you check out W2 Performance. Abby, I need the deets on where to order. We're gonna get it to you.
We're working on it.
We're working on it, Chief. Okay, just relax. All right, we got it. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we'll let you know. We will let you know, Chief. Anyway, make sure to check out W2 Performance. Will Tell, he's got all these videos coming out. We shared one just recently. He's doing a hell of a job. We got to get him on the stinking show. We love Roller Tell. We got to have him tell that Atlanta Falcons story again with Matt Ryan and the guys. So,
I got to call him out for not liking red pepper if he's even
that's
gone
another
there
one.
Yet.
That's another thing.
We got to rectify that situation.
We really do. And we got a whole slate of people we need to get on too. But he also has stickers. The Barbell Nerds podcast, $2 for these bad boys. So make sure you check that out. Also check out Jack O'Keefe, Jack's Junkyard, now with Apparel. So make sure you check out a lot of his stuff. He's on the TikToks. He's on all the socials medias. Check out Jack's Junkyard, Jack O'Keefe. And the Breaking Into the League guys, our guys Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, their podcasts are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know, they ditched out on us last week. We need to figure that out. You know, Ryan took a shot at, about Dalvin Cook and Dennison and all that stuff. I need to get back at that guy. We got to get this going. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, but Breaking Into the League, make sure you check them out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that fun stuff. So, we got a lot going on. Do you have kid sizes? I think we can work something out. We can
work
talk
something out.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that. We'll get back to you on that, Chief. But anyway, remember, we have a MinneZona Pick'em with CBS Sports. We'll get you set up. We'll send you invites, things like that. If you want it, we'll give it to you. So it's going to be fun. Voldy's in on it. I'm in on it. The thing is, it's mainly for the zoners. But if you beat us out in picks, maybe we'll give away some of these bad boys. Okay.
Uh-oh.
We'll see. But anyway, great job as always tonight, Voldy. It was a great episode 76. And we'll be back next week with more fun, more stories. And, just who knows? You never know who might show up. So we got a lot of that going on as well. So without further ado, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.